Hello, let's begin talking about how to do research. At first, I wanted this video series to be based on what I did in the past, using my dissertation to talk about the steps that one would typically follow in terms of conducting a mathematics education research, or just education research in general. When I was thinking about crafting this series of videos, I thought, why not just video series catalog my journey going from pre-planning stages to conducting the research to analyzing the research to writing the research to hopefully publicize the research. Why don't I just catalog that entire journey and that'll be the series? I am not claiming to be too much of an expert, but I at least have a good working knowledge of how to go from point A to point B to point Z. And so that's hopefully what this video series is gonna encompass. Now, I'm not sure how long this video series will actually be. It could take longer than a year, it could take more than 2 years, but I will hopefully get the journeys from the beginning all the way to the end in this video series. I'm gonna try to make that a commitment. I'm gonna try to make that something that I will have cataloged, and hopefully in a more organized manner than I did my dissertation. That one was kind of haphazard. So let's get started. The very first thing that you gotta do with any research project is to develop a curiosity for something. Now, some people will approach this thinking, maybe I find the hole in the research, maybe there's a gap in the literature, maybe there's something in the works that hasn't been fully explored yet. And that's a good way to go about it. But the way that I have sort of framed the research endeavor is to be curious about something. Maybe that's being curious about how to fix a issue that you are noticing, or maybe curious about why something is functioning in a certain way. And so what I'm curious about for this research project is, how are students framing what it means for them to learn mathematics specifically, or what it means for them to frame their teacher's actions in the classroom. So for example, let's say I am a student sitting in my Calculus 1 class. My teacher, my instructor is in the front writing stuff down on the board. What are the things that I'm paying attention to? Am I paying attention to how they're dressed? Am I paying attention to if they're left-handed or right-handed? Am I paying attention to how fast they're talking? What are the things that my brain is thinking of? What are the things that my brain is noticing as important for me to think of? Now, granted, in a math lecture, I am probably not paying attention to the instructor's clothes. I'm not paying attention to how fast they're talking. I'm probably paying attention to what they're writing. But that's an assumption that I have. And so I'm curious, maybe there's some things in the student population who take Calculus 1 that they deem as important, and that's something that I, as their mathematics instructor, am not considering as them paying attention to. And another curiosity I had with this is this question that I asked other people. I asked instructors this, I asked students this. What does it mean for you to have learned mathematics? How do you deem yourself as, yes, I have in fact learned this topic of mathematics? And you get drastically different answers from the camp of instructors and also from the camp of students. Instructors tend to go about it they can generalize the technique, they understand why things work, they understand why this happens and that happens. So let's think about the limit definition of the derivative. A lot of instructors want students to understand that this is a tangent line, that we're trying to find a tangent line to a function at a certain point. The derivative gives you the slope of that tangent line. Students may deem that as just, oh, I have to follow this formula. I have to compute what f of x plus h is, and then do something with that, take a limit as something goes to 0, and that is the derivative. There's this difference between what is the derivative versus how to find the derivative, but that's my assumption again. There is a wealth of knowledge to be had when we're asking these questions about how students have framed what it means to learn for them and what it means for them to look at their instructor and what is it that they're paying attention to. And so what I hope to accomplish in the foreseeable future in research is to figure out how students have framed things. So I've been talking about frames quite a bit in this video, so it's probably good for me to just expand on what I mean by that so we're both on the same page. So frame is coming from the sociologist named Irving Goffman, and frames is a mental construct that allows us to filter out details. A lot of information is coming at us, and be able to organize and make sense of that information in order for us to respond appropriately given a situation. So my favorite example that I use in my dissertation defense is this idea that an instructor walks into a mathematics classroom. There's a million different bits of information coming at this person. What are the things that are in this classroom that they are paying attention to? They can't possibly pay attention to all bits of information that are coming at them. And so a frame is something that allows them to make sense of all of that information, to filter out the details that they are not deeming as important while highlighting the things that are important to them. So one of the results from that research is that instructors frame their teaching using what their role is in the classroom. So are they viewing themselves more as a facilitator of group work? Are they viewing themselves more as a lecturer? That aspect of frame helps them understand what information within this classroom is important for them to notice and pay attention to. And so I bring back the conversation to the student side of you. What is it that students are paying attention to? They walk into a classroom, there's 20 other students in the classroom that they now have to sort of filter out and understand, like, how am I supposed to behave in this classroom? What are the expectations of me? What is the sort of things that I need to value when I enter this classroom? So those are the things that I'm hopefully able to figure out, hopefully give a name to. And that's sort of what this research is looking forward to. So right now, I'm sort of just in the curiosity building stage. I'm trying to just build a sort of understanding of what is it that I am curious about, trying to lay the groundwork for what is it that I want to look at. Because this is a very broad statement. Maybe I want to focus on just Calculus 1 students. Maybe I want to focus on a certain demographic of students. There are lots of things to still think about, but the first stage is always to build curiosity. I think that's what I'm going to cut this video off, just talking about curiosity building. And the next stage is when we start looking at other literature. Have other people looked into this curiosity? If so, what are the things that they're saying about it? What are the things that I can gather? It's important for me to notice things such as what methods have they used? What context has their research been in? What are the things that they have found from this research? And perhaps build a more understanding of the lay of the land. And so the next stage is not necessarily building out an entire literature review, but it's just sort of getting a context of the surroundings of your research curiosity. And then after that, you get to decide how to grow this research curiosity into an actual full-fledged research question. And based on my experience doing the dissertation, that research question will transform, it will change, but it is good to just start building that curiosity, because that curiosity is what's going to get you through the research. Like, what is it that you're curious about? And then later on, that's going to bring you to the planning period of how to conduct the research. And then once you conduct the research, that curiosity transforms into, I was curious about this, I want other people to get curious about it, and now what is it that I found in my research that I am excited to share with other people? What is it about the research that I did that is so fruitful that I want other people to know about it? How is it helpful for them? And so this curiosity is really where we start in this journey. And I'm going to sort of, hopefully, catalog that entire journey from its beginning all the way to its, hopefully, publication. But we will see. Hopefully, the next video isn't forever from now. I would like to talk about how to find the literatures, how to Google Scholar your way through different research, how to look at journals, all of that stuff. But yeah, I'm excited to do this video series. Hopefully it does come to fruition. Hopefully I don't abandon it. But we'll see. But that's it for me. Bye.